In this video, I'll be doing a review of the Minimax FS30CX. Now, quite a few months ago, almost a year ago, I sold my jointer, and I had been using my planer to do jointing and planing using a sled. It was not fun. I thought I could get by with just using my DeWalt planer, which I never got an opportunity to review for you guys, and I apologize for that. I'll give you the information on that planer and I'll show you a picture of it. It is a fabulous planer. I have nothing but good to say about that planer. That planer served me well. Same thing for the jointer. It was a Shopfox jointer, but my preference was the planer. That planer was a little tank, and I have nothing but good to say about it. But as you know, I'm in a small shop, and space is a premium. I keep inventing space, but even with my knack for creating space, I was running out of space. So I got rid of the jointer, I sold it, and I was using a planer as a jointer and a planer using a jig, a sled. And it just became too much. The jig itself was heavy, plus the weight of the lumber on it, it just became unwieldy. It was like too much of a hassle. So earlier this year, I think it was back in February, I ordered a Minimax combination machine. This machine is a combination 12-inch joiner and a planer. So you have two machines that occupies the same footprint. I had been following this manufacturer for many years and this particular product for many years. This jointer was rated #1 by Fine Woodworking when it comes to combination machines, jointer planers. I ordered it in, as I said, I ordered it in February. It just arrived a week ago. That's why last week there wasn't a video, by the way. I was getting the shop ready for this jointer / planer. And it took a couple months for me to receive it because the machine came all the way from Italy. I am very happy with it thus far. The product is premium. The price reflects that. There's no shortcuts here. This thing is well made and it performs as advertised. I got it with the Helix head, and the Helix head has these small carbide cutters, and it's fabulous. I'm about to make 48, so I guess I'm going through a midlife crisis. Most people will go out and get an Italian car. I got an Italian machine. To go from jointer to planer is similar to suicide doors on a Lamborghini. Very impressive. And the machine itself is very stout. The tables are heavy. The tables are coplanar. The tables are flat. I did some verification using my straight edges, and the largest inconsistency variance I could find, and that was in the form of a dip, was 5/1000ths of an inch. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it's 5/1000ths of an inch, because my straight edge is not perfectly flat. So it could be even less than that. But this thing is machined very well. It appears to have a texture, but it's not really a texture. What it did is, rather than making it a flat, consistent mill top, it has little grooves in it. And I believe that is to reduce friction on the table, because it's very easy to glide over the table. and it performs very, very, very well. It has a very large fence. The fence attached at one point in the back, so it makes it kind of easy to push toward the far end a little bit. You get a little bit of flexing, but they offer a rod that you put in the back of it that makes it stiff. Another thing that is noteworthy, out of the box, I set it to 0 and the fence was square. I mean, that's impressive. It was dead square. I milled lumber on it, one face flat, one edge flat and square to the face, and it was exactly that, flat and square to the face. Very impressed. The fence can tilt to 45 degrees, I think. Yes, 45 degrees. It tilts to 45 degrees, so you can do bevels on it. Be honest with you, I don't think I'll ever use that. Another noteworthy feature of the machine is they sell an auxiliary accessory where you can do mortising on the machine, and I plan to take advantage of that in the future. That's very interesting. As far as safety features, most European machine has the European style guards, and some people don't really care for that here in America because we're used to this pork chop guard. When they sell a machine for the US market, they include it with a pork chop guard. Other safety equipment is, as you move the fence back and forth, you expose the cutter head in the back. There's a guard, a metal guard that covers the exposed cutter head. That's very good. It has a 3 switch setup that has to do with powering up the machine and powering down the machine. It has a main switch that you turn on, but then the machine still does not activate at that point. The machine doesn't turn on. It has an auxiliary switch that you turn, and it's a temporary switch, a momentary switch, I would say, and it kicks the machine up. But before you can even do any of that, you have to deactivate the emergency stop. And I like the emergency stop. It's pretty low to where, you could take your knee to it in an emergency situation. Let's say you're using both hands to joint a board. You can put your knee to it and shut it off, or you could reach down and slap it and shut it off. So that's very good. The machine sports, keyword sports, as in power, a 4.8 horsepower motor. So it has no problem milling lumber. And talking about milling lumber, you probably heard me say in the past that the table saw is the heart of the workshop, or the heart of my workshop. I'm gonna take that back a little bit. Emotionally, it's the heart of the workshop for me. It's the machine that I like the most, to be honest with you. As far as its flexibility and all the stuff that I could do with it. But the literal heart of the shop is the planer and the jointer. Reason why I say this, I don't care what you're doing. Either if you're making drawers, or you're doing case work, you're building cabinets, whatever the case may be. When you're dealing with the dimensional lumber, tables, whatever, if you're not starting off with a flat, square, and perpendicular, which is what these machine gives you, you're not going anywhere. Bad start, bad finish. So, in my opinion, the jointer and the planer is the literal heart of the shop, because the work that they perform, every other process is reliant on how well they perform their job. So it's for this reason why I consider the jointer and the planer to be the heart of the workshop. Now, for me, going forward, that's one machine. And it's my Minimax. So I will consider this Minimax to be the heart of my shop. I did some tests on it. I milled some pine. It did an excellent job. As I said, it was flat. And when I edge jointed, it was perpendicular to the flat side. Same thing, when I switch the machine over, and it doesn't take long. You have to drop the planer table so that the guard and the dust collection shroud can flip depending on which operation you're doing. But it doesn't have to drop all the way down. It has to drop to about 6 inches to where that will clear. You can make the conversion between joint and planer in like about a minute and a half max. What else can I tell you about this beautiful machine? It did not come with a power cable. And there's sort of a reason for that, because they could technically wire it for an American and have it also wired for a European, depending on where it's going. But what they did is they give you a junction box and you provide your own power cable. It was not a big deal. It was fairly easy for me to accomplish that. They used to offer this machine with a mobility kit. For whatever reason, they don't offer it for this market anymore. So I had to go out and get my own roller stand. The first roller stand I tried, I really didn't like it because it didn't allow me to move the machine with complete freedom of motion, which was very important for me in this tight shop. So I went out and I bought a set of leveling casters that not only allows me to have full freedom of motion, but once I get it into a position that I want, I have the ability to level it. I haven't had a whole lot of time with this machine, so I'll probably at some point gonna have a long-term review of this machine. But from my previous experience with my previous jointer and my previous planer, it is literally no comparison. This is in a complete league of its own. I am very happy with this purchase, and I would make this purchase again without hesitation. And I can recommend this to anyone with, once again, a clear conscience. This is an excellent buy. I know it's expensive, but if you're looking to do it for business, or if this is a hobby you really enjoy and you have a small space and you're doing this for the long term, you can't do better than this. It's gonna make your life, when people think about milling up wood, it is not glamorous, but trust me, if this does its job, everything else comes easy. Let it be dovetails, let it be making tenons, let it be making, doing pocket holes for face frames. If your boards are milled correctly, all of those things just fall into place. I'll show you, for an example, when you often have to edge glue boards together. I will show you an example where I rest a pine board on top of an oak board. And if it wasn't for the color of the two, you wouldn't be able to see where one stops and one continues, which is a testament to how well this machine does its function. Thank you for watching and have a good day. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to be notified when new content is dropped on this channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and drop a comment down below.